What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Risky Ryan Trades. Well, yesterday we caught a big one. Look at this big, beautiful candle. We caught it on KOSS Corporation. Today I'm going to show you what I saw, why I entered, how I adjusted my stop loss, and how I rode this beast from roughly around $9 all the way up to, you can't even see it, all the way up to about $14 up here. Before we get started, disclaimer, this is for entertainment purposes only and not financial advice. If you're going to trade, it's risky, do it smart, and let's get to it. So here is the 1 minute chart, and you can see I've circled the candle that I entered on. Now, why did I enter at that point? By the way, this is a 50% trade. This is my biggest trade yet, so I'm quite proud, and I'd like to, show you how I did it. So, I started watching it right here at about 10:33. First off, how did I even know that this was going on? So, I have a number of scanners that I use, but I do find that this YouTube channel right here, Zendu, is pretty good. They give you, alerts, and there's also a little chat box. You can see kind of what the masses are thinking. And this came on my radar, so I pulled it up onto, my desktop, and it was right about here that I saw, that the alert came up. And what had happened is it crossed over the cloud, confirmed over this Ichimoku. There was another push-up, and at this point, it had cleared all these negative candles. And what I was really looking for was for it to clear this 875 mark, because you can see here there was resistance there. And in this candle, not only did it clear that, but it got all the way over $9. I wanted to wait for it to confirm before jumping in. Much better to miss a trade than to lose a trade. It closed just below at about 893. Next candle pushes over, and at this point I go, okay. And you have to see the price action, because it came back down to 9, it held, it pushed higher, and I'm looking at the clock. The minute is about to run out, so I can see that it's almost certainly going to close over $9. And at that point, I hit the buy button twice. I did 2 lots, and I immediately set my stop loss for just below where this candle right here closed at, and just below where this candle, the low of this candle, at about, I think, like 892, 890, somewhere around there. The reason for the tight stop loss, and I mean my entry was at 906, so that's over a 10-cent stop loss, so it doesn't seem that tight, but if you are going in with a lot of size, that can be a lot of money. I'm not rich, so like the exact dollar amount is not going to impress anyone. But I set a tight stop loss because my philosophy is, it's either going to break through or it's not. And I'd rather take a small loss, a bunch of small losses, and get stopped out than ride anything down very much. And if I'm right, half the time or a little bit less than half the time, but you get one of these kind of moves, it makes up for, getting stopped out here and there. So that's one thing I would definitely stress is give your stop losses room, and I'll discuss kind of how I do that as we move along, but also keep them, pretty tight too. And, the whole point is either you're right or you're wrong. You don't want to hold it too long if you're wrong. So the very next candle closes once again, and I'm waiting for it, and I see that the Ichimoku starts to move up. It touches, and it's holding $9, so I'm feeling pretty good. And then this candle happens right here. Eureka. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So at this point, it closes, it comes down a little bit, it pushes higher. Once I see this is moving up again, I move my stop loss to break even. I'll be damned at that point to watch it move up like this and then lose money on the trade. The hell with that. So then it consolidates, hits Ichimoku again, pushes over $10, and it closes over $10. Actually, it moves much higher and then closes over $10. Next candle moves up. This is where I'm moving my stop loss up. Now I'm moving it to about $9.49. So all of this action, if it reverses and gets under all of this action, the move's over. So I don't want to lose any more profit than that. We're moving higher, comes down, pushes up again. Now we're over $11 and it closes over $11. So same idea, I move my stop loss up to about 10.49, 10.47. And I like these whole numbers, especially since you see on this candle, the Ichimoku is going to be above this 1050. So you have that level of support, all this price action of support, and the psychological support of 1050. So I set it 1049. Now this thing it's moving up so fast. Now I'm looking at like, okay, because at this point I didn't have time to really see where a take profit would be. I was just hoping it was going to break $9, and damn did it. So I went to the weekly. Take a look at this. And it's easy to look back on it now and analyze it, but when it's happening, you have like seconds, minutes, if you're lucky, to look at these levels, and get everything figured out to see where your good take profit would be. Now, this $6 level would have been the thing to watch, because you see there's a ton of support right here, and then it breaks down. It hits, bounces down. That's probably why, people were jumping in right here. I could have, had even more gains, I guess. But once it came on my radar, 9, I'm like looking, and you could see way back here in 2021, it came all the way down to $12 roughly, and it rejected. And then once it broke the $12, it came all the way down. It tried to get up, could not really hold that 12. It was trying to get above that 12. So I knew $12 was going to be a major point of support and resistance. So going back to the 1 minute, 1 second here. What have I done? Here we go. Get this out of the way. Okay, so right here, right around $12, there was a halt. This is where it gets interesting. So halts are like, this thing is going up too fast and we got to shut it down before, I don't know, the hedge funds we work for lose all their money because they were shorting the stock, something like that. So at this point, I got my stop loss right here, and actually no, let's see here. The halt happens right here. I moved my stop loss up to about 1097. Just below where the Ichimoku would be, just below this. At this point, I'm like, okay, I've made a lot of money. If the halt goes negative, then I don't want to lose it all, because it can happen very fast, which we'll get to, because it happened later on in this one. So I set it to about 1097, and you could see it almost kissed it. That was a little scary move, because it opened here, came all the way down here, bounced off 11, closed above 12, right under 1250. So awesome. That means 12, we got support. So I leave it right here, and I'm watching it move up, and it halts again right here. So now everybody in the chat, by the way, this the Zendu, let's see here, let's pull that up again. Whatever, I lost it. But yeah, that chat that I was in, they're all still pretty bullish. They're like, oh man, where could it go? Where could it go? And what I like about that is you kind of get an idea of, the people that are involved in the trade, what are they thinking? So they're still expecting these halts to move up. So I moved my stop loss. I don't even think I moved my stop loss. I'm just like waiting to see what happens. Actually, yeah, no, I think once this candle started going, I moved it up to $11.99, and I figured, okay, this $12 mark has got to hold. That would have been the smart thing to do anyway. I'm not really sure exactly where I moved it, but that's, in retrospect, that would have been the move to do. It gaps up, closes the gap, and then moves higher. Now we're up to 15, and I see that 16, at this point I can see that $16 is, the big inflection point. And I can also see that in the chat, people are starting to go like, be careful. You know, fear is starting to set in. Right in here was a bunch of greed, so it was pushing it higher. But once fear starts to set in, you can see the sentiment change. And when it opened, it pushed up, started to come down and turn red. And this candle, this is a top candle. If you see this candle at the top of a big move like this, game over. So I put in my order, but it won't get filled. It won't get filled. It won't get filled. And I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? What the hell? I'm moving my limit down because it won't get filled. It halts again. In the chat, resuming at $14.40, which is way below this $15. So it's at this point that I go, okay, I'm done with the trade. I put in a market sell order and I said, just bail me out. And right at the open, right around 440, that's where the sell order initiates, and I get out. I don't think I could have executed this trade better. They're not all going to be like that, but that's, you know, that's what I'm thinking about when I'm looking at these trades. You know, it's a combination of price action when the candles, you know, confirm over a consolidation area, when they confirm over points of psychological resistance like these whole numbers, and when they, you know, bounce off support like the Ichimoku and like moving averages. You can use the 10 EMA. I was using the 10 period EMA as well while I was doing this trade. Those are the things I'm looking for when you have confluence, when everything's, you know, you have 2 or 3 things saying, hey, it looks like this thing could be due for a good move higher. You know, that's when you want to pounce. So, yeah, that's how I got a 50% gain on KOSS. Looking forward to, you know, some more big winners like this. And, you know, the key really is you can have winners like this, but if you let your losers drop down to the same level, then you're not going to be profitable. You don't have to be right even half the time. As long as when you're wrong, you keep it, you know, you keep it within reason. And when you're right, you do your best to let them run. So use logical stop losses, and, you know, best of luck out there. I'll see you on the next video. Peace.